Hello and welcome to the Poverty Franchise Podcast. It's PJ. NFL Week 3 is coming on. So is College Football Week 4. We're hydrating today. I had to wake up early to get my car fixed. So it's been a rough morning. Didn't eat, but hey, I'm here talking about football. We're going to jump right into it with the week. Just go over the week's winners and losers, literally, then narratively, I guess. So your winners are the Browns, Panthers, Bears, Colts, Dolphins, Vikings, Ravens, Bengals, Titans, Eagles, Jags, Rams, Falcons, Packers, Broncos, and them Cowboys. The losers are the Steelers, Saints, Texans, Chiefs, Bills, Lions, Patriots, Jets, Raiders, Commanders, Chargers, Cardinals, Seahawks, Buccaneers, Niners, and the Giants. And where we sit in the standings right now, the top of the AFC East is the Dolphins at 3-0. The Bills are 2-1 right behind them, and the Patriots and Jets are both 1-2. The AFC North has two 2-1 teams, the Ravens and the Browns, with the Steelers and Bengals both being 1-2. The AFC South is surprisingly topped by a team I didn't think it would be topped by, the Jaguars. The Colts are 1-1. The Titans are 1-2, and the Texans are without a win but are 0-2-1. The AFC West holds the team. The other held division has with the league's only 0-3 team. The Broncos and Chiefs are 2-1. The Broncos very ugly 2-1. Chargers are 1-2, and the Raiders are 0-3. The NFC East, 3-0 Eagles rushing out the gate, looking like a strong football team. We'll come back to them later. The Cowboys and Giants are 2-1, and the Commanders bring up the rear at 1-2. The NFC North, three teams are 2-1, the Vikings, Packers, and Bears, with the Lions being the only 1-2 team. In the NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the only 2-1 team, whereas the Saints, Panthers, and Falcons are all 1-2. Same with the NFC West, where the Rams are 2-1, and the Cardinals, Seahawks, and Niners are 1-2. So, where does that leave us? Well, the narratives coming around is that the Eagles are a juggernaut of a football team. There's no other way really around that. Nick Sirianni is cooking at full speed right now. And Jalen Hurts looks like an MVP candidate at the current moment. He's already passed for 916 yards, 4 TDs, and an interception on the season. And he's rushed for 167 yards and 3 more TDs. Miles Sanders has 222 yards on the ground. And Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are coming out the gates hot, with A.J. Brown with 309 yards, Devontae Smith 249 out the gate. Dallas Goedert's got 168. Then their defense, just dogs. Everyone's dogs. There's not everyone a dog. Brandon Graham got 3 sacks. Fletcher Cox got 3 sacks. Those are your usual suspects. Darius Slay looks like his old self. You can't get better than this. You can't have a better start than this. And we'll see if they maintain it. They actually have a game that I didn't think would be tough. They have the Jags next week. That should be a good test. Then the Cardinals and the Cowboys. That's a pretty rough slate of games. No real gimmies there, so we'll see how the team performs against an exceptional defense in the Jaguars and the Cowboys. The Cardinals do not have an exceptional defense. And to probably the early surprise of the season, the Jacksonville Jaguars are really good, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They beat the Colts and they beat the Chargers, and they beat them convincingly. James Robinson has come back from his injury stronger than ever. Christian Kirk actually looks like he was worth the money, which I'm glad he is. Marvin Jones looks good. Zay Jones looks good. Evan Ingram isn't doing much, but he's Evan Ingram. What can you say about that? And of all the second-year quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence is showing why he did go number 1 overall off the board. Already has 772 yards, completing 69.4% of his passes for 6 touchdowns. And he's added 22 yards on the ground. He's not rushing as much as he did at Clemson. But what narratives are starting to form? Well, are continuing, I should say. The Raiders, it's not looking good. None of their Devonta Adams isn't really panning out at the moment. He's not panning out. It's a lot of things with the Raiders. I can't quite put my finger on what it is that's seeing them falter, and also the Titans getting that big win. That was a real big game for both of them. This was kind of the season for them, I think, in what direction it was going to go. But Derek Carr is playing good. I'm not going to take away from Mac Hollins' real big game. He's playing okay. I think it's on the coaching. I've never been a fan of Josh McDaniels. I just never have, and I never will be. It's on him. It's on just late game collapses, and it's on the defense. There's no real way to slice it this year. It's on the defense. Max Crosby is still playing well. He has 2 sacks on the year. Jonathan Abrams is still a box safety. You're not going to get much coverage out of him. But your big signing, Chandler Jones, has no sacks through 3 games, and he only has 6 tackles. He's your biggest signing. Vile Nichols, good depth piece from the Bears, only has 4 tackles on the year. 1 QB hit. Rakasin, no interceptions, only 1 pass defense, or 3 pass defenses, my bad. The defense needs to play better as a unit. So they got to. They're in the hell division. If you drop to 0-4, you might as well mathematically kiss your playoff hopes goodbye. Because effectively you will have to go for the remaining 13 games. You'd have to go 12-1 to make the playoffs, basically. And at best 11-2. At best case scenario, you have to go 11-2 the rest of the season. Which for an 0-4 team, that's almost an impossible turnaround. So the Raiders next week is a must-win game. It's against the Broncos. It's against an anemic offense. Nathaniel Hackett can't coach a goddamn little league team. They have to go out and win that game. Then they have to go out and beat the Chiefs, too. They have to get back to 500 before they lose another game. I think they have to get back to 3-3 to have hope before they have an excuse to lose. Which means which is possible because they play the Texans in that 3rd game after their bye. Then they play the Saints, which has Black Jay Cutler leading them into the fight. But if you drop to 0-4, the loss against the Cardinals was fucking heartbreaking. You can't really spin that. You can't really spin that one. It just was. You gotta come back from that somehow. And you can't go 0-4. That's the end of the story. I found out I was wrong. The Buccaneers, in fact, needed receivers to beat to go ahead and beat the Packers. The Packers did just enough to get through that game. The Falcons won their trash bowl. The Rams are back on track. The Cooper Rush doesn't look too bad for the Cowboys. Kirk Cousins outside of prime time looked good. Jacoby Brissett is holding the ship a lot better than I thought. The Steelers' offense is pretty not good. They, in fact, need another quarterback or time to give Kenny Pickett a shot. The Bills lose a heartbreaker of a game, really just due to poor... Now, you can't really... That's a player. He fought for extra yardage when you need to get out of bounds. Shit happens sometimes with football, you know. It happens. And Nathaniel Hackett's still a hack. I like just saying his name because it's Hackett. And then finally, to talk about The Chicago Bears. Let me stop. I'll stop. No, we're talking about it. As you all know, I'm a big Bears fan. Win an ugly affair against the Texans. Khalil Herbert played out of his fucking mind. Justin Fields. Holy shit. Justin Fields did not play out of his mind. Not at all. He played very bad, actually. Shout out Roquan Smith for winning the game. The line isn't really holding up for Justin Fields. It's weird because the Bears have had this problem for the past 3 or 4 years where they can run block really good, but they can't pass block. I know there actually are different. A team, that is possible. A team cannot be able to pass block, but can run block. And David Montgomery's hurt for a little bit, but I think the team with Khalil Herbert is in good hands there. He'll be back. Mooney and Kmet still haven't really came alive this year. Is that due to the quarterback play? Possibly, probably. Also, the lack of options around them means teams can really focus in. And Quimia St. Brown's really the number 1 option this year. And he's like a number 4 guy on a good team, so gotta take that as you will. Roquan Smith's player of the game. His interception basically won the game. And Eddie Jackson's back to his forcing fumbles ways. He got back to his forcing turnover ways, I should say, with 1 pick, 1 forced fumble. Jaquan Brisker is still playing really good. Kyler Gordon, he's still getting burnt, but hey, it is what it is. Sometimes you get burnt, sometimes you don't. But he's a rookie cornerback. He'll get better. Jalen Johnson's still locked down on the outside. Yeah, he didn't even play last week against the Texans. He was hurt, and it didn't even matter. But hopefully he's back for week 4 against the Giants, who are coming off the short week. I think they should. I hope he's back because that would be not good. But to preview next week's games, to end the NFL portion of the roundup, because I do want to talk about a couple of the college football games, mainly the Clemson Tigers, because let's go. I will admit I was wrong about a few of these this week, and I'll probably be wrong next week. But hey, that's what we're here for. The Dolphins and Bengals are the Thursday night game. I think the Dolphins get that one. Then the London games, Vikings, Saints. I'm going to consider that prime time. Saints will win. It's an unusual, it's not 1 or 4, so Kirk Cousins will suck. Browns better beat the Falcons. Oh, Lord. Titans, Colts will be an interesting one. I think the Colts beating the Chiefs may have found their mojo again. They're both in the win column for the first time. I think the Colts will edge out in that one because the Titans' run defense is not great. So, Commanders, Cowboys. The Cowboys' defense is going to feast on Carson Wentz. Lions, Seahawks. I like Dan Campbell a lot. Beat the Seahawks. Chargers, Texans, Chargers. Bears, Giants is an interesting one. I really think the Bears should win this game. The Giants' defense will be the best they've played, well, other than the Packers, so far this year. And the Bears' run defense isn't great, is not good at all this year. Damian Jones, Aaron Jones ran all over the Bears. Saquon will probably do the same. Same with Daniel Jones as well. Jags-Eagles might be the game with a 1 o'clock time slot. I think the Eagles will win, but I think Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence are about to have a shootout. It's in Philly. It's in Philly, isn't it? It's in Philly. Never mind. You see, I thought that if they were in Jacksonville, I thought the defense could use some of the energy from the crowd and maybe put a stop to the Hurts hype train. But they have a good pass rush, but I don't think their offense will be able to hold against the Eagles' better defense. Jets, Steelers. I'm going Steelers. Bills, Ravens. Okay, that's the game of the 1 o'clock time slot. There's 2 games in the 1 o'clock time slot. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm going Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson's too hot to stop. Cardinals, Panthers, Cardinals, Patriots, Packers. Packers, no Mac Jones. He's hurt. Going to be starting Brian Hoyer. That's a gimme. Broncos, Raiders. I think the Raiders will not go 0-4. I think the Raiders' offense is competent enough. The Broncos' defense is great, by the way, because they've limited all these teams to no points, except the Seahawks of all teams. It's weird. But I think the Raiders should get that one because the offense is so anemic unless they just click next week. Chiefs, Buccaneers. I'm going to go to Chiefs. The Buccaneers are getting Mike Evans back next week. The line's still banged up. The Chiefs coming off a loss. I think on Sunday night, I think the Chiefs will edge them out. Then the Monday night games, Rams, Niners, Rams. Not even going to talk much about it. Also with the Giants throwing Shepard's out for the year again. Tore his ACL on the turf at MetLife. I did joke about that. I did say watch your knees because the Jets and Giants played back-to-back on MetLife's turf. And I'm like, damn, that's going to be rough. And MetLife is known for taking knees, and I did not mean that literally. I feel bad for him. I hope he comes back healthy. Also, I'm glad Myles Garrett's okay. The Browns will be missing him against the Falcons from his rollover accident. Also, it's a testament of good design of sports cars in America or in the world. Because if that was in my Chevy Sonic, I would have died. Thank you for not being rich. On just a little bit of college football talk. The Clemson-Wake Forest game was great. That was a great football game. Staying in the ACC for just a little bit. Miami getting upsetted by Middle Tennessee. It's just funny to me. I like the upsets. And Kansas State with the big upset on Oklahoma. Poor Brett Venables. They dropped from 6 to 18 in the rankings. That's fucking rough. But your rankings are still your usual suspects. Maryland gave Michigan a good run for their money. USC also had a good run had a good challenge this week. Tennessee looks legit. They just knocked off Florida. Florida's hype train's pretty well dead. Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson, the USC Trojans because there's only one USC. Kentucky, Tennessee, Oklahoma State, and the NC State Wolfpack, which sets up your game of the week next week, which is number 5 Clemson versus number 10 NC State in Death Valley during a fucking hurricane. With your other one being Arkansas, Alabama, number 20 and number 2, and should be the first real good test of the season for Alabama. But we'll have to see how that goes with all those games. And in terms of other games we got going on, we can go by conference, see what's with the what. Other big games, Wake and Florida State are really playing for their seasons at this point. Of the season, because Wake just coming off the loss to Clemson is lower in the rankings. Florida State's still 4-0. So if Florida State wins this game, they're legit. So that's going to be a big one for them. That's pretty much all there is in the ACC. Kansas beating Duke to move. Kansas is 4-0 and not ranked, if I'm not mistaken. But Kansas State is, I don't know why Kansas isn't ranked. They should definitely be ranked over teams like Pitt, Wake, hell, even teams like not Oregon. Sorry, I apologize. BYU. Just on the process that they're 4-0 and they've played conference opponents, so. And then next week they got Iowa State. And then Oklahoma State versus Baylor, big game. Baylor's 3-1. Oklahoma State's 3-0. We'll see if Oklahoma State's legit. And the Big Ten, Michigan's got Iowa. Iowa does not know how to play football right now. They play like the forward pass does not exist. Ohio State plays Rutgers. Congratulations on your FCS game. You need them sometimes. Then the Pac-12, Oregon's got Stanford. USC's got Arizona State that has damn sabotage going on inside the program. For fuck's sake, like. Then the SEC. You got Alabama, Arkansas. Georgia is playing Missouri. South Carolina has an FCS game against SC State this week. Okay, weird. Florida's got Eastern Washington. That should be. Ole Miss versus Kentucky is another big one. Ole Miss is also undefeated. Kind of their season's on the line so far. Both 2-4-0 teams. So the season's on the line this coming week. Really, Clemson and NC State are going to vie to be the ACC's representative in the college football playoff next week. Kentucky and Ole Miss get to play to see. Kentucky and Ole Miss and Alabama, Arkansas are all playing basically to determine where in the SEC stuff's going to work out. Oklahoma State is now really the Big 12's only hope at the playoff, unless everyone gets a 1 in their record before the conference title day. Because if Ohio State and Michigan stay undefeated, they will eventually meet at the end. So Oklahoma State's really the only hope because Oklahoma's loss was a bad loss. Unless fucking Kansas decides they want to pop off and win the conference, go to the playoff, that'd be fucking hilarious. But that'll be it for the football roundup. Yeah, I know, got the new Justin Fields drip, even though I don't think he's playing that well, but I'm giving him hope because it's his rookie year again. New coach, new system, no weapons, at all. There's 1 receiver and 2 running backs, and that's everyone who's worth half a shit on the actually, Equimius is alright. You got 2 receivers. They're both number 2 and number 4 guys. You have an ass tight end. You have 2 pretty decent running backs. They'll start on a lot of football teams in the league. And a shit line. But it was an anniversary gift. I like it. I haven't had an orange Bears jersey. It'll stay in the collection even if it joins my everlasting jersey graveyard of traded people. It is what it is, though. It's been PJ on the Poverty Franchise Podcast signing off. Have a good rest of y'all's day. Go Bears. Go Tigers. Fuck NC State. We're playing in this fucking hurricane. Let's roll.